You're listening to Raiding the Fringe with Poda, Ostinius, Nepids, and Dr. Lee. From ancient civilizations to the cutting edge of science, from exploring the outer reaches of space to the Atlantean depths, we discuss the topics of the unknown and the possibilities of the bizarre. Are you hungry to expand your horizons? Come get your fill as we raid the fringe.
And we are live!
Yes, finally.
Finally. Alright, hey, everybody. If you've been listening to our podcast, then you know what it's about. For our 10th episode, we wanted to do a live episode and do something that may or may not be interactive. We've got a chat thing set up. We don't know how that's going to work out yet. This is our first live broadcast, but we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
Today we're going to talk about post-apocalypse, apocalyptic ideas, what it may be, and so on and so forth. So, maybe not net.
Oh, okay, my bad. I guess
Oh, okay.
Well, you've already somewhat given me a precursor to your apocalyptic thoughts. Lee, if there was apocalypse, I mean, do you think that it would go down the zombie apocalypse, Mad Max situation, Waterworld situation? What are we working with?
Well, there are an awful lot of apocalypse scenarios, and zombies have been really popular lately, but I think in reality, I don't think the zombie is going to happen.
What if it was a disease?
Oh, yeah, the global disease one.
Turning people into zombie creatures.
No,
I don't
maybe
think-
wiping people out. Like, what was that, Captain Tripp?
Oh, you're talking like a plague?
Yeah, like a plague, wiping people out. I think we're getting to a point where our population is reaching ahead, and there's something's going to have to be done with the planet, or we're going to choke ourselves out. So, an apocalypse of some kind is inevitable. I don't think the question is which apocalypse do you believe will happen, but what you're going to do when it does. Have any of you sat around and made a plan, like a survival plan? If it hits the fan, do we have a bunker? Do we go out and...
Well, it depends. If it's going to be like a plague-based thing, obviously you'd want some sort of safe house bunker. You'd want like a detox room. You'd want to go out with like gas masks and stuff like that. If you're talking that kind of post-apocalypse.
You had the money for all this?
That's
No, you
true.
go raiding. You go out on raids. First place you hit up is
The
your
weapon shop?
Home Depot?
army surplus, whatever.
They don't even have those around here anymore.
Here's the problem, is
Not around here.
you're not the only survivor. It's other people you have to worry about.
That's the biggest thing on a post-apocalypse. You have to worry about the other people. That's the craziest part about the situation.
That's always how it is, man.
Yeah, everybody's cool with, okay, well, there's zombies running around, but you have to think about the rogue bandits who are trying to break in your house for supplies.
People are gonna.
So you're taking advantage of the hitting the table.
I didn't
know
know.
Mike's. Finally, his eyes can be released.
You need a mug of ale.
Yeah, I'm down. But no, I think people breaking off into factions would be a big thing right off the gate. Because even if you have the people that have been prepping and they've been waiting for this day, they already have a group and community set up in lifelines.
Well, only certain people do that. You're talking about like the watchers, the people who doomsday preppers, the crazy people in the mountains.
Yeah, there are some people who are already ready for this because it is a physical fear for some people, so much so that they have their stockpile of dry good foods, they have their guns, they are ready. And while most of us can laugh at them right now, if it really happened, who's laughing then?
Well, what was it? You know a doomsday prepper, yeah? You mentioned something like
I
this.
know some people, yeah.
And what was it that they said?
Like
Like if you're looking for gears and supplies.
Oh, are you talking about... No, that was more along the lines of ammunition and fighting yourself. So, from what I have gathered, what you do is, in in a time of martial law or a time of a post-apocalyptical, whatever, basically what you would do is you would only need one shotgun, one rifle, and a handgun. And after that, you don't need anything else, don't need more ammunition, just one box. If someone comes to attack you or someone comes to take what you have, you shoot them and take what they have first. It's a shoot first, take then mentality.
Okay, so at that point, you're talking about still having a small tribe, like, say it's an individual family.
No, it could just be an individual, dude. Yeah, well,
Okay.
I'm saying a family, yeah.
But he's not looking to be a socialite. He's not looking to build
Oh, God, he
a
doesn't
tribe.
socialize with many people now.
Yeah, but wouldn't you think it'd be better to socialize and make like a tribe, like a safe group of people that you could have like a safe house?
You would have to really trust those people, though, if that kind of situation happens. I believe, anyways, yeah.
Well, I believe so too. You'd have to have been friends before the collapse.
That's more of a defense protection doomsday prepper, not like a guy that's like, okay, well, you need so much of water, so much of this hidden away, which I'm sure that he probably has that. We have not gotten to that part of the conversation. We haven't really got past the guns part, so.
Okay, let me outline it this way. Let's say that there was international dispute and Russia sent us some biochemical, like, warfare kind of shit, where he sent a disease to the U.S. What's your game plan? What's happening? You've just heard about this on the news. You see people getting sick in the strike zones, but, you know, the gaseous wave is making its way towards you. What's your first move now?
I guess I don't know. I haven't thought of it like that.
Well, think of it like that. It's happening, Deb. It's coming towards you. What's going on?
I don't know. I guess I would call everybody that I know that I trust and try to make a tribe.
Oh.
I really don't know in all that aspect. So what would you do, Poda?
I try to contact the few people that I know in my life to first off see if they're alive or sick or dying or if they even return my phone calls. And then
I haven't talked to you in 5 years. I hope you return my phone call.
probably take off to the closest person I know after I have my bug out bag ready. And actually just kind of go from there and live day by day.
Yeah,
really.
what's
Do you
your
have a
bug
bug
out?
out bag?
I did.
What's your bug out
I'm
bag?
going to again. What?
What's your bug out bag?
You just
Backpack.
what?
I didn't. I mean, go on.
An empty backpack isn't helpful.
Yeah, you can just my
There's
backpack.
so much stuff in it. If we're gonna kill people and loot the bodies, you're gonna need something to carry all this stuff. No knives, fire starting equipment,
Bad idea.
some kind of tarp for
Okay.
multiple purposes, rope, firearms if you got them. I mean, backup ammunition. First aid stuff would be very important because that's going to be on a premium.
You think of caffeine pills?
Yep.
Because your body's so addicted to caffeine right now,
Caffeine
you
and
need
painkillers.
that.
Oh yeah, caffeine and painkillers are going to be a big one. Oh, would you eat your neighbor's pet to survive? Painkillers are going to be a big.
Just to see what it tastes like.
Oh,
First-
would you pet as your neighbor's pet to survive? Ostrich.
A dog.
Painkillers are going to be a
Yeah,
big.
I mean, my neighbor
Just to
has
see what it
a lot of
tastes
dogs. And I could eat dog for a
Would you
month.
pet as your neighbor's pet
Get
to
tired of
survive?
dog before I run out.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, my neighbor
Just to
has
see what it
a lot of
tastes
dogs.
I don't know.
And I could eat dog for a
Would you
month.
pet as your neighbor's pet
Get
to
tired of
survive?
dog before I run out.
Oh, you all-
Yeah, I mean, my neighbor has a lot of dogs.
Got a
And I
sack in
could
your bug
eat
out
dog
bag.
for a
Would you
month.
pet as your neighbor's pet?
Get tired of dog before I run out.
Oh, you all-
Yeah, I mean, my neighbor has a lot of dogs.
Got a sack in your bug out
Dog
bag.
for a
Would you
month.
pet as your neighbor's pet?
Get tired of dog before I run out.
Oh, you all-
Yeah, I mean, my neighbor has a lot of dogs.
Got a sack in your bug out
Dog
bag.
for a
Would you
month.
pet as your neighbor's pet?
Get tired of dog before I run out.
Oh, you all-
Yeah, I mean, get tired of dog before I run out. Dog for a month. Get tired of dog before I run out. Get tired of dog before I run out. A lot of dogs. Dog for a month. Get tired of dogs before I run them over. A lot of dogs. Dogs are all. Get tired of dogs before I run them over. A lot of dogs. Dogs are all. Get tired of dogs before I run them over. Tired of dogs. A lot of dogs. Dogs are all. Get tired of dogs before I run them over. Get tired of dogs before I run them over. Dogs are all. A lot of dogs. Tired of dogs before I run them over. Get tired of dogs before I run them over. Dogs are all. A lot of dogs. Tired of dogs before I run them over. Get tired of dogs before I run them over. Dogs are all. A lot of dogs. Tired of dogs before I run them over. Get tired of dogs before I run them over. Tired of dogs before I run them over. Dogs are all. Get tired of dogs before I run them over. Tired of dogs before I run them over. Dogs are all. Tired of dogs before I run them over. Tired of dogs before I run them over. Dogs are all. Tired of dogs before I run them over. Tired of dogs before I run them over. Dogs are all. Let's see here. Well, don't make it boring for the viewers.
No, how long do you think it would take before, like, say, all the power grids went out in America? How long do you think it would take for people to really...
That's what it sounds like.
Is that what we sound like?
What?
Did I fix it?
How long do you think...
Did I fix it? I fixed it.
Did we fix it? Is it fixed? Is that what's going on?
I think I fixed it.
I don't know. So, do you guys believe that? You know, what's your belief on this? Is there going to be something that
Well, I believe
drives
that
us all out, or?
I believe that there could be a chemical war or something of the like that would make things not good. A post-apocalyptic situation with biological warfare and things of that nature. I mean, to me, I think that would be one of the biggest things. Either that or like a nuclear wipeout. Logically.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would be more inclined to think, since economics clearly isn't
Thanks, guys.
working, that it would be more biological. Because you don't want to destroy the you're going
You guys want to chime in with ideas, you go ahead. Sorry,
Mhm. Why would you want to bomb a territory that you're going to end up taking over eventually and use? You wouldn't want to take it out and then not be able to use it for half a century.
sometimes the point isn't overcoming and like commandeering that area. Sometimes the point is annihilation and making a point. And that's not just to the people who used to live there at that point. It's to other people. If you defy us, this is what's going to happen to you.
We also used atom bombs on Japan, and they are doing great now. So it wasn't like
We use hydrogen bombs.
yeah.
So bombs are an economic boost?
No, that's not what I'm getting at. I'm getting at that they completely bombed a place and they recovered. So if you nuclear bomb an area, now you're talking about
They have not
fallout.
They have not fully recovered. Places that were bombed have not fully recovered.
I'm not
They
talking.
allow people in, but the
My bad.
radiation
Not the
level is
exact
still-
locations of the bomb, but the country that was bombed has recovered and is doing okay.
That's because the bomb's not big enough to take out the whole country.
Okay.
But
I'm
the
just
area
saying.
that is bombed, still not safe to walk in
Okay.
there without precautions.
So let's say that's the catalyst of the apocalypse for Japan. They got bombed, and then now people are infected with radiation. They take it out of the radiation zone, and radiation and mutations start happening.
So mutant apocalypse.
Mutant apocalypse. What do you think?
I don't believe it'll happen.
Would you kill the mutants?
Are they attacking me?
Well, they're taking over.
Well, that's the thing, is if it's self-defense, I mean, if they're just like, yeah, I've got 2 heads, but I'm running for president. Oh, yeah, whatever.
I have a head in a jar, Nelson.
Wow, you got 2 more heads than our current president. Here, go for it. But if he's more like, raw, I'm going to rip your teeth out, rah, then, I'm going to
dripping
kill it.
skin mutant.
Yeah, I'm going to kill that.
Toxic Avenger. He's swinging him off. You vote for me.
Oh, Toxie.
Okay. Well, what about other things? What if, us as humans have doomed ourselves, and there's this, heat, not an ice age, but a heat age.
The whole global warming thing again?
Yeah, melt the ice caps, and everybody
lives on mountains because they're the only land left.
Yeah, or on floating huge city-like flotillas and Waterworld situation.
Well, I guess once the situation is taken over, it becomes its own sci-fi story and everything can happen. The question is, while it's happening, what are you doing? Like, do you run to the libraries and are you saving what literature you can?
What would you do?
Like, if it's imminent water floating up,
Yeah.
I'd learn all the fuck I can about building boats.
You'll be a boatsmith in the new utopia.
Some skills just can't be underrated in the right circumstances.
Fair enough. Okay, so I'm going to pry into a deep-seated fear of immense water.
Oh yeah, that'd be your awful apocalypse, wouldn't it?
I've already been thinking about it. Now you guys are talking about it.
So how would you prepare, Poda? The water's rising.
Mm-hmm.
It starts off that it's like ankle deep. Then you're in your suburban home, and the water's rising. You have to climb on your roof and shit. What's going on? What are you preparing for?
Well, let's add some kind of boat or
Do you own a
floating
boat?
device. Not yet.
How would you commandeer a boat?
Well, it depends who's already in possession of it.
You just collected it. Hey, buddy, save me from my roof. You bastard.
You're giving me a mild inconvenience. I must fight you. Oh, water filtration too.
Oh yeah,
That's
you
a
can't
big
just
one.
drink the water.
That'll be sewage, mud, toxins.
Mm-hmm. Because what good is it to even have a boat if you can't drink the water? And food. I mean, I suppose fish.
How many people will go cannibal?
But how can you cook the fish?
Well, it
if you're
depends
all
on what's
fast?
happening. You got
You need a boat that you would have a
debris.
fire pit somewhere.
First off, you would have to think about the debris, the dead animals, the terrestrial dead animals that are in there that made the water toxic enough for the animals to like
Yeah, you
the
don't
fish not
see
even breathe.
floating dead goats in Waterworld.
You know what I mean?
Not by the time the movie's taking place. No.
Yeah, that's
Fair enough.
that's probably just a
But
couple
how
weeks.
would they have survived? You know what I mean? Very shortly afterwards. You know what I mean? Because everything would be toxic. The water itself would be even toxic. Because
Not
of all the
necessarily.
dead.
You have to hope for rain.
Okay, if every living animal that's on dry land, and a lot of humans, because they're going to die too,
Right.
and then all the dead leaves and the plants and everything, how would that not make the water toxic?
The ocean already has more living creatures than the land does, and they die all the time too. Didn't pollute our waters yet. The only thing polluting our waters is us, and we won't be able to once there's a flood.
Well, except for like Nev's talking us literally, like our actual bodies floating.
Right, but those will decompose after a couple of weeks. There's nothing going to be left.
Yeah,
bones
but
and
for
nothing
sea
a
back.
life
couple
would
of
feed
weeks of no good water and filtration, I don't know if you can take away from dead animals in it.
You
know?
can. It's just smelly. It's not going to make the water, impossible to drink. There might be some bacteria in it from the decomposing, but that's part of the filtration. Get your charcoal filtering kit or whatever, and that takes care of most of it.
Okay.
Well, if you're smart enough to board that upon your boat, I think, like Nepis is talking, a lot of people wouldn't think about that. And so they would not last very long.
Unless we combine them and there is a toxicity going around the public before the flood takes over. And so it's not just dead bodies, but infected dead bodies infecting the water.
Oh, you're talking.
Well, I'm assuming that because of the dry heat, the heat wave you're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plants wouldn't be able to live either, so crops couldn't be grown. So there's already be a drought and starvation.
Land for crops to be grown on.
And
well, seaweed and stuff though.
Yeah, but what he's
that's
saying
not
is
going to feed the whole world.
before the flood even starts.
7 billion. Yeah, you got to think. There's before that. You said it was a drying age instead of an ice age, a heat age.
That would be Mad
The
Max
heat, and then
situation.
well, no, I'm just saying that would have to be because then you'd have brush fires. We're already seeing that brush fires and things like that. So you got to think of the double whammy of all of a sudden everything's coming up with a flood, but before that there was not enough food to sustain this many people. You know what I mean? And then the drought of all the plants dying and the animals dying because you couldn't feed them either.
Okay, so what are you saying? Are you saying that humans wouldn't have a chance amidst this global catastrophe?
If you're talking about that it is enough water that blah 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 blah.
I pulled up some videos for you.
Anyways, if it was enough water to cover all the way up to the top of the highest mountains with no land whatsoever.
We're saying seldom islands of land.
Okay,
that
like
are
how
the
fast are we
highest
talking
peaks.
about a flooding of this earth after the heat drought?
10 years.
Oh, 10 years. We've got
Well,
a
then, yeah,
crisis
you got-
before the flood even hits us.
Yeah.
You have to survive the...
Now we're talking about the water rising.
Okay, but if they have,
Right.
if there's 10 years and they've already had this heat drought, they're already come up with like, okay, well, this is happening. The polar ice caps are going to melt. They're going to take their resources and they're going to put them where they need to be. Now, poor people like us are going to die and stuff like that. But I'm just saying, like, if you give them 10 years, then yeah, humans will survive.
Well-
if you give them less than that, they aren't.
I mean, 10 years, that 1% we all know of, will probably disappear into spaceships that they've been building for years.
I doubt they'd go to space.
They're not going to space. What's in space?
Maybe in orbit
That's
space.
even dead.
They all own yachts. They're not out anything.
Yeah, like straight. They're gonna.
Pirates.
They would rather stay on Earth where they know and it's comfortable. Now, if there was like a nuclear fallout where radiation was everywhere and things like that, they would go to space because then that would being on Earth would physically hurt them. But if the place is flooded, they would just like they're already doing it. Billionaires and millionaires are already buying places in random, just places that are high altitude. Just buying up property. Don't do anything. They're not really doing anything with it yet. They are literally just buying up property in high altitude places. So they're already making a plan for this. Do I believe that it exists? No. But
You know, if the water level gets high enough and only high mountain peaks are land, then anywhere on top of the water, you're up in that high atmosphere. They don't think about that either. If we're talking global flooding, we're talking global high atmosphere. Constantly cold.
You're gonna-
Possibly the water is almost on the brink of frozen at any given time.
You're going to have to contend with Sasquatch and Yetis.
Well, assuming they're real as well.
But if they're already up in the mountains, then we're gonna have to fight them to get to the mountains. But even on the water, you wouldn't be safe from the elements. The air would be thin and cold, even in the global heat,
okay.
because everything is now high altitude or below sea level.
How about an asteroid coming and hitting off a decent amount of this Earth? How many people do you think, or how would people survive after that?
Ooh, a straight up asteroid blast.
I'm talking a pretty decent chunk.
Well, if it was a decent enough chunk to count as an apocalypse, then I think we're looking at the same thing that theoretically killed off the dinosaurs.
Oh, that's true,
Dust.
but there was still animals and creatures living after that, so there are things that can live. I'm talking about
That's
one
true.
that might basically almost kill us all.
From shockwave, dust cloud.
Well, okay, those are
tsunamis.
effects of it. but-
Okay, so if we're talking post-apocalyptic world, there has to be some people
Yeah.
that survive. Did we know about it? Were there bunkers? People are living in bunkers?
There are literally asteroids coming within miles to the Earth, right? To this day, and we don't know about it until a day before it happens. They're like, oh yeah, you'll see it on the news. They'll just like,
We're not
oh yeah, look over there.
Yeah.
Today, this asteroid's coming the closest to the Earth it's ever been. Only a half
I
a
think
mile
a lot
away.
about
You know what I
just
mean? And I'm like,
media coverage versus what
I
they're
doubt
doing.
that they would do that. They would tell important people. It's the same thing of how human society would work. They would gather the smart. They would tell the rich, smart, and they would, and those people would gather up their employees and stuff because you do need a workforce. So yeah, they would gather up a certain amount of people, but people like us are probably not going to be lucky enough to know a rich person to take us in so we can do slave labor for them.
I'm rich. Please let me do slave labor, said no one ever.
No, I'm saying we know a rich person that they would take us in, and we would be their slaves and do their stuff like that.
Like the Lord
Not
class
like-
and the servant class, where it's like, please
That's
let
what
me
it would
work
have
for
to
you and
be.
be cast
All
out.
the rich people wouldn't just be like, all the rich and smart people wouldn't be like, oh, well, everybody else is dead. Now how are we going to start building things and farming and doing all this crap we don't want to do?
I usually have my peasant do that.
Yeah, and that's still the same as it was then as it is now.
All right, am I the only one that thinks about the genetically engineered creations?
Well, I talked about a mutant society. That's
Well,
what
I
I'm talking about.
don't mean the humans. Well, I'm talking about all those
I'm
experiments.
saying it could have been any animal in a nuclear wasteland. Anything could have been a mutant.
Mhm. I'm talking about the ones that are in the labs under lock and key. When the power grid goes down and they have no more power, all the cages open.
I don't think they're made to do that though.
We have no power. Yeah, just
I think if
so
you're
they open
going to
the
make
gate.
something that dangerous, okay, so
That's
like prisons.
very movie theater, but I don't think
Prisons, when all the power goes out and stuff like that, yeah,
Cages are
some
locked,
people are
sure.
going to escape, but the people that are locked up, they're going to die.
Well, see, I'm taking into account the humans that work there. We're just like, you know what? The hell with it, and
Why
then just
would-
lets everything. Because
And that
some
could
people
happen,
just people just
I-
say the hell with it, and they
you
won't
are
even try to
at
survive.
If you are a high research level facility, and you obviously went to college, you obviously have a degree, you're some kind of gene splicer, you're not going to be like, well, now I have to figure out how I'm going to survive. You know, it spice things up, this thing that could kill me. No, you wouldn't do that. Now, if someone came in afterwards, like let's say a few months where there's, emptiness and stuff, and some unsuspecting person comes in, then yeah, they have a chance to be like, I wonder what this thing does. You know what I mean?
Well,
But
I
the
think-
person doing it, no, they're not going to release it because they would have to compete with it too.
Well, my thing is that they don't even know that this is something that's going to come and kill them. They're manufacturing this weird monster, and they're like, "Oh, this is my life's work." Yes, come here, Bessie. You're my life's work. You would never harm anyone. You've never shown me any signs of malcontent. And then it fucking latches onto his neck. Ah! Bessie! Ah! And then next thing you know,
I think that's
it runs off into the open world because he released it.
I think that's more of a movie thing too to drive plot. I really think people that are intelligent enough
Well,
to
let me
get
drive this
masters
plot,
or doctorates in a biological or genetic sense are not, when they are faced with, okay, I have to figure out how to survive. Should I let this apex predator out?
See, that
Not
is
while
a.
you're
But not
there.
if it doesn't seem like an apex predator.
You made it.
Seems docile.
You literally made it.
There
No,
is
it's
a flaw in your
capable.
logic.
What?
They do not teach common sense in a biology major.
I understand, but like every person is born with a little.
Is it
common
freezing
sense.
up for anyone else? It's freezing up on my end as of right now. I don't know. My phone just died. Sorry.
I'm not saying
It does that with
Release the
connection and
information,
stuff like that.
stay there.
Usually with lawyer.
Yeah, well, we can check.
I'm just saying,
It
like,
doesn't look like it's
I-
freezing from here.
No, I don't mean the person's going to let the thing out and stay there.
And they wouldn't put their cages with a fail-safe mode with no electricity. Screw it, let it
Yeah,
loose.
if electricity shuts off, it just auto opens.
No.
Nobody would ever do that. If it's caged for a reason, and it will stay caged.
I'm just taking in the human aspects. Some people just go off the deep end. It's usually the higher ups who are under stress.
Yeah, but
anyway.
you're not going to do that if you don't have. Now, if you're in your own personal bubble and you are totally. But if you are in a survive situation or not, you're not going to create something and let it loose to have to survive against it.
But if they're this damn smart, there'd be cybernetics involved, and they could control it. They think they'd have it. Yes, it's definitely. We're talking about a movie now. That's just stuff.
Okay, yeah, let's not freezing up.
Well,
Must be just their internet. But anyways, what I'm saying is just like that aspect. But okay, so now from Monster, like okay, so what about the asteroid? Well, what about the other institutionalized things, like all the prisoners, all the people that are in nursing
they would
homes?
die. They would end up dying in their office.
Some would escape, but I don't think the guards would go and let them out either.
I think they're
Actually, what they could do is the rich people would take those prisoners, so it'd be justified that they take them into slavery.
Well,
Now you're
rich
taking people a lot of
Yeah.
incentive.
I met a lot of rich people, and they are fucking retards. I will tell you this:
My
they
bad.
expect,
The elite, 1%. I'm just
they
using the
expect
same
things to be
terminology.
done for them. They're not going to do things for themselves. So unless there is that backup thing where they have people on file to do whatever the fuck they want,
Retainer.
yeah, on retainer, then they're just as lost as anybody else. And those doomsday preppers, the hicks in the fucking woods, they probably got in their bunker beforehand and crawled out afterwards and are hunting down these places for supplies. I mean, if you think about it.
And then if you also think about it, this 1% elite, even if they have their shit together as much as you think they are, what makes you think everybody else is going to yes man them and not make them primo target?
Oh yeah, you were big when money meant something, but guess what? America's fallen. It's my turn. You know what I mean?
No, I'm thinking about even the short-sighted stupid person who says, "You're the rich one, get him! I want to be the rich one." Ugh. Now I'm the rich one.
No, they'll just keep taking themselves out then, and if you just wait long enough,
You're gonna get the really stupid, extra good at fighting guys.
They'll be the rich ones.
how much or how military? We hope they would they remain loyal to a government that clearly no longer exists?
You know what's
Yes.
stupid is because there would be a collapse of knowledge, records, internet, stuff like that resulted upon all of this, that no one would be able to prove if anybody was military or not. So that military hopeful dad that always failed and is drunk in his basement, he's still, I'm the excellent soldier, and he's going to be the guy that's running around shooting people up. Well, I was a soldier for whatever, and anybody who comes upon him won't have any basis of, denying that at all. They'll be like, oh, yeah, he's an excellent soldier.
Thank you. Put that a note into
I did put a link in the Facebook post, didn't I?
Thank you, Turjan. I'm going to say that's how you pronounce that.
Tarzan.
Turjan.
I could put another one out.
Forgive grammar.
I did. I'm on Rating the Fridge. I posted.
All right, regardless.
Yeah, let me double check that.
But do you see what I'm saying? Do you remember what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm just saying that the rich elite don't normally do things for themselves. And
I'm just saying they have the ability
There
to
won't
buy
be
up
any-
resources that other people don't have and can't get.
the thing is, they may pay for a resource that they think is elite, but they have no knowledge or no way to check backgrounds to prove that this weird backwoods
Okay, my bad.
is an actual
I'm wrong.
military elite.
My defense, I did post that link a little late.
It's Matt. Matt who?
Yeah, Matt who?
Well,
Matt Turgeon, I guess.
Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm wrong.
there's no wrong or
I don't
right.
know. You spent the last 5 minutes telling me I was wrong. You're explaining to me why I was
We're
wrong.
just talking about
Your arm's
Jesus.
longer.
Calm down, Matt.
What do you mean calm down? I just said I was
I don't
wrong.
know. Do you need me to
What do you mean calm down?
crochet you a door?
Tomato?
Yeah.
What would you
Matt
guys...
Tomato?
what would you look forward to in a post-apocalypse situation, depending on what scenario it is?
Hey, tomato.
Sorry?
Any post-apocalyptic ideas that you guys have, we are more than happy to hear. We'll obviously we will respond to you.
Yeah.
A little delayed, but yeah.
Things you would look forward to, or things you wouldn't look forward to in a post-apocalyptic situation, depending on the scenario.
I will say that I'd be looking forward to two things. A, the reincorporation of a bartering system as opposed to an official monetary amount.
Oh, man.
And then also B, the ability for everyone. Now I know it'd be guns because we're in a whatever, but let's say, I don't know, there was some weird post-apocalyptic event that made it so you had to use swords. I would rather it be a bladed society. You carry a blade on you, and so that way it becomes more apparent, like when you size up an opponent that you have a disagreement with. Well, how good of a fighter is this guy? How big is his blade compared to mine? Like, that kind of situation. I would rather that. So if someone is a loudmouth piece of shit, you could, like, just pull it out a little bit, and they're like, sorry, sir. That's right.
And you pull out the rest of the way, and it's only a 3-inch blade, but you did.
I told you it was like a 13-inch handle.
I look forward to a lot less people. I think with a smaller population that any sort of apocalypse would... I'd like to be optimistic and say it wouldn't be like Walking Dead where every single person is someone you have to fear eventually, blah, blah, blah. I think there'd be a lot more of us pulling together and being supportive. And, you know...
I don't think that's how it would be. People are shitty like that. I mean, if you look at people nowadays, when a fight breaks out, people are more inclined to pull out their phone and record it for posterity's sake than to step in and prevent it. And I think that would only be compounded by the fact of no authoritative, government or feature there that would prevent them from doing so.
Oh. Tomato agrees that he'd like to look forward to the return of tradesmen.
Yeah.
Oh, like the visits to the blacksmith and such. True that.
Oh, yeah.
And,
horses.
And Sam makes a good point with the wildlife situation. Because if, depending on the post-apocalypse, but if it was just like human central and the wildlife actually began to flourish, like you see the towns in like some of the things.
Well, like I Am Legend, things like that.
Yeah, like Omega Man.
Yeah, nature takes over the city in certain parts. There are deer.
Omega Man.
Omega Man.
And stuff like that. I mean, I believe that would totally be a thing, and being able to survive in the wilderness would definitely be a trait that should be inherent in most of the humans that survive said apocalypse. But there are other things you have to look out for, like mutated animals or however the apocalypse happened.
I mean, right now I do not feel threatened by a pack of wolves. But if they were running through the city and we had to worry about a pack of wolves, I need to make a run to the drugstore, to the blacksmiths.
Yeah, you say that while you're sitting inside the house, but if you need to, take a half day's ride to the blacksmith to get your gun checked out or cleaned officially because it's blocked up on you here lately, you would have to worry about that kind of stuff and make sure you can take care of yourself in the interim.
I would totally be the crazy inventor. Like society's falling apart and there's nothing left. I'd be the one that has a collection of rubber hose and metal wire and stuff that people come to and say, hey, did nothing blow up this week? Good job. I need you to make me something that does this. And I'll be like, okay. And then talk about something that no one
Until
understands.
something blows up. And then something blew up this week? Yes. Well, I don't want to talk to you.
Did something blow up this week? And my face is covered in black. I don't remember. Marty! Great Scott! But yeah, that would be my role. Because I can make shit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. What would your role be? Now, if you were in a post-apocalyptic world?
Are you talking about a role to recreate society or what?
Just personally, what role would you think you
Talking about the lines that we were just going down.
I don't know. I personally, I don't know. I can't think of anything. Sorry.
you don't know what you would want to do?
No, I don't believe that I will be in a an apocalyptic situation.
Let's say you were.
I don't have.
You cannot
I have no
suspend
skills.
disbelief to.
I have no skills enough to warrant a type of tribal situation.
Okay, let's say this thing happened and you were forced to learn some skills. What skills would you focus on to gear yourself towards that?
What would you like to be better at?
Yeah.
To help you in such a
Would
scenario?
you be a tradesman? Would you be a hunter-gatherer? Would you be, somebody who just stays in town behind the walls, or what?
Investigating Waverly Hills is an excellent idea.
Because you guys put that haunted house thing up.
Oh, about the haunted house.
Yeah.
A haunted house thing, it will be a separate episode. We are going to go on a Bigfoot hunt as an expedition. We will also take an expedition to investigate the paranormal. That is not currently what we are talking about.
Well, I mean,
Oh, yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
matter. Like, they can ask us any questions, we can answer, and they don't have to
I
stay on
know.
topic.
I'm just answering the question.
Okay. No,
What about you, Poda?
What was the question?
What if we're in post-apocalypse? There are only a few people left, and we all are some sort of loose society or something. What kind of role do you think you would take on? What do you think you would do?
Which apocalyptic scenario are we talking about?
We're talking about nature took back over. There are a few humans left, and we're just trying to make things work. So Boomer's a blacksmith, and I'm a crazy inventor.
A hired hand, not a whore. Be it whatever the job, really. I can dig holes, farm, kill stuff,
Hired
cook
hand,
stuff.
not a whore.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'll just.
you can work for me for
I'd hang out.
the harder stuff.
I don't know. It'd be unless I had a mental break in the beginning. I'd probably just look for the people that are kind of even keel, and then just kind of hang out and enjoy the supplies till they're gone. Really,
A moocher.
not a moocher. I mean, I would, like I said, help in return. Like if it happened to be a farm, do manual labor, or if it happens to be a compound, fight off other humans, zombies, monsters, whatever.
Well, Lee said that I would be a blacksmith. Personally, I would do along that same kind of thing. Whatever help is needed to rebuild. If we're internal in a society and we have walls to protect us, then I would do what I needed to help rebuild the internal society within those protected walls. If it was like a thing where there were creatures out and about, I think I would want to be a scouting party. Somebody who goes out to hunt the creatures, or somebody who goes to the big cities to salvage goods to bring back.
Oh, oh, Jen, now you. But that is
You'd make a killing in pelts. That's all I'm saying.
the world's earliest profession.
Yeah. Because we're going back to that. Money doesn't matter for anything. You would have so many cans of beans.
Mm-hmm. I mean, back then all they had were thieves, prostitutes, and bus drivers. Just saying, one of the oldest professions.
Oldest professions. Yeah.
Later on, when they invented the bus, they finally had something to do.
Yeah. Where are the kids gonna go? So,
But I mean, we all would probably have to do more than just the one thing. We'd all have to pitch in to help further society and take on extra roles.
well, not
We'd
unless
probably have to take our own shifts at the defenses. Or whatever.
but some of this for you guys. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, unless you're on the other team, that's complete anarchy, and it's like fuck everybody, whatever.
Well, I mean, we'd have to think about other things too. Like me and Nep are both men of family, so there's the idea of being your own hermit family, living on your own, not being a part of a walled-in society or whatever, making your own way with your own kin, and doing what you have to do.
Being a frontiersman.
Yeah. I mean, I might be all about that. Little harder to protect your land and what have you, and a little harder to gather supplies and take care of your own, but
Hook up the caravan, the wagons. of the future.
And hitch it to the old Oregon Trail. I don't want to die of dysentery, brother.
I got future dysentery. Damn future dysentery killed off all my family.
I don't know. It's pretty interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Bottom line, I'd probably just kind of play it by ear.
I'd have to say, of all the post-apocalyptic scenarios, that would be one I'd prefer. One where it's just, a lot of people are gone, unexplained, and nature's taking over.
Yeah, I don't want the flood one.
The flood would be awful. Zombies, I think we might be able to get past if we could survive the first influx.
I'd give it a good try.
I tell you what, from the zombie apocalypse standpoint, I would be the guy that has zombies to experiment on. To find out. I need to know how long they can survive without
so you would
eating.
turn into a mad professor kind of...
No. I'd take all
No. I would just lock up a bunch of zombies in my house and torture them in different ways. Yeah.
No, not torture
Well,
them.
they have a shelf life. You only got so much time.
Yeah, they're zombies. They can't be tortured.
But-
Sorry.
Are you talking like Will Smith and I Am Legend?
They have rabies.
Nah, not quite, but kind of. It's more like
I'm stuck at 28
I was
days
thinking,
later.
all right, say...
No, I'm just saying like he has them in his house and doing random crap to him.
Yeah, I'm not talking about in my house. I'm not stupid. Things can break out or whatever. If I've got some sort of secure pen outside, like a fenced-in area where they don't get out.
You want a house with a fenced-in yard?
Shaun of the Dead, he's got a thing around his neck.
Kind of a Shaun of the Dead thing. I mean, even if they're fast zombies, if we're being secluded and protected from them, and we figured out how to survive so far with them, like we've got our defenses up and whatever, I wouldn't sit behind the wall and keep going, is this never gonna end? Is this never gonna end? I'd say, let's get one isolated, find out how long they can live without eating, find out, if it's indefinite, find out if they're blind, if they can't hear, just a couple things to help everyone else learn how to survive or how to get rid of them better. Not some sort of in-depth, I'm insane and I kiss one goodnight before I go to bed.
You smooth its hair as it's pulling out of itself.
Good night, sweet love.
But it's just the head for safety reasons.
Until tomorrow.
Sitting on the nightstand.
Yeah.
I love that scenario. Why did you go with that?
I may get to that point.
I
But
love you, my dear. And like the stringy spit comes off you.
no, I wouldn't be that guy. No, but seriously, it's like, well, let's find out, what we can about how to control them or how to get around them, instead of just assuming you have to shoot it in the head or run.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, in order to learn about them, there's going to be a couple that you have to shoot in the head and then rip apart to figure out how they work.
Bury the body pieces in different areas, because that's a different type of undead.
That is a different type of undead, and it's a weird thing that they keep. So now we're going with this whole undead. I'm trying to blanket apocalypse, this kind of thing.
All right, so we've got an idea posted from Sam.
Reptilians.
Yeah, I wonder if certain folklore and creatures of the unknown world sprout more in this situation. Would people see will-o'-the-wisps more and fairies or dark creatures, or would they just be that mad-eyed Joe again ranting off about nothing?
Well, starvation does a lot to you, and I'm assuming in any situation we're not going to have the calorie intake that we used to be able to be used to. So yeah, we'll probably start seeing stuff.
Yeah, but is the stuff really there or not?
To you, it will be. So
Like-
I mean, like,
Oh, whoever is perceiving it.
yeah, whoever's perceiving it, yeah.
Well, what if
And then people back then, you start something and then it would be like a brush fire. Other people started seeing it. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, they could definitely gaslight something.
All right, how about this though?
Oh, you're
what
talking like
interdimensional beings? Let's go with an angle that I know you know more about than I do.
Okay.
The interdimensional beings, the aliens, the fairies, whatever we want to perceive them as.
That'd be
Perhaps they are not prevalent in our dimension as often as we think because humans have crowded it out. Basically, we're just too much. And with a removal of the
So you're saying our spiritual dimension has a like a fire occupancy?
no, more like a bear won't walk into the city.
Okay.
So most of the people die off. There's only a few of us left. Does that mean other things that we currently don't believe in because they don't come around, civilizations or people, would start sprouting up and would start proliferating because we're not choking out the ecosystem, as it were.
Well, I mean, back when population was much thinner in the Dark Ages and stuff like that, is when we saw a lot of that lore and reports of creatures of the such.
They also had way better drugs.
No, they didn't.
Straight from the vine drugs, none of this analog stuff nowadays.
What?
It's true.
They would eat a 12-day-old cow.
I would have to say about that aspect of it. In my view of an actual apocalypse that I believe is going to happen, then there is going to be a lot of things going to be seen that is unprecedented that the world has not seen yet. So I believe biblically, obviously, and so we have a whole book that tells us what is going to be happening in the last time. Like 100-pound hail. Heat scorching, like what you were saying, with heat waves, things like that. So that is what I believe is going to be happening in the end times. So yeah, the interdimensional being thing that you're talking about, of course, there could definitely be them moving more and doing more with their power.
Yeah. Tomato says, what if it's our actual technology itself, the interference is causing it?
Oh.
I don't agree with that. Usually technology or electricity or things like that actually fuel these entities that I'm believing, or you know what I mean, like
yeah.
With that.
All right, so if you're going more biblical, let's say the rapture happens, the good people go, the bad people are here. What do you surmise is the destiny of those laid forth that are still here?
Well, they would go through all the punishments that are going to be put on this earth. Again, like I was saying, the 100-pound hail, the heat. Eventually, all water on earth is going to become undrinkable.
That's not too far off.
Yeah, we're already working on that.
So, a lot of different things are going to be happening, and they're still going. I mean, it says a lot of these plagues are going to wipe out a decent amount of people every time they happen. But there's still going to be a decent amount of people here. We're already at over 7 billion people on Earth.
Yeah, something like that.
So if it wipes out, 1/3, or don't quote me on exactly the numbers, I'm just saying, if it wipes out a certain amount of people, there's still going to be a decent amount of people left. And then so they got to live through the next one and stuff like that. So yeah, it's going to be absolute hell. It's going to be every aspect of what you guys talked about, because with like you said, with the scorching heat, it's going to unleash scorching heat. There's going to be die-offs of animals, and that's what's, I believe, going to be making the water undrinkable. All the fresh water is going to be undrinkable because of all the death and pestilence. Everything that we've talked about today.
Have you seen the Ganges lately?
I don't even know why I'm laughing at that. But I'm just saying, so yes, I believe a lot of this stuff is going to happen. I just don't believe that it's going to happen in certain ways that is romanticized by literature and movies about the apocalypse.
I like to romanticize things. So, going off of what you said.
You say romanticize. Some of the horrors, that's not romanticized.
Yeah, it is. That's another aspect of romanticizing, is when you take something to a level that appeals to you rather than facing the reality of what would probably be.
I don't want to be stuck in a world full of fucking mud tomorrow. I can say, yeah, it'd be great to walk around with a sword every day. I'm not actually romanticizing.
I'm talking about the movies and literature.
I don't want that shit.
No, but what I was getting at is your post-apocalyptic rapture post-apocalypse, basically.
Yeah.
100-pound hail seems pretty awful.
Yeah.
Dry heat. It's still a matter.
The sun.
Whoever is left is still going to have to figure out how to survive. They're not going to know what happened, are they?
That's not you, I'm alright.
What it says is they're still going to curse God. So they're still going to curse God in those situations.
Right.
So they're going to live through it. It's going to suck for them, and it's going to suck bad. So yes, there is something that is going to happen, and I believe it is drastically heading towards that aspect because of all the random stuff that we've been talking about. So, if you look around, there's a lot of different things that are happening right now. But again, you could also argue that it's because we have the internet and everything's at our fingertips and we can see what's going around the world. But we're also, when we get that information from that side of the world for the first time, they're like, this is the worst we've ever seen it. You know what I mean? So it's not like we're just seeing a lot of stuff that we would be desensitized to that we didn't see. It's literally people reporting, being like, we have never seen it this bad. Like Australia, they're literally burning, you know what I mean? Not so much now, but like they're like, this is the worst it's ever been.
No, but it's been
And
going on
earthquakes,
for a long time.
like the amount of earthquakes that have been happening.
See, but I think that
So
that's
I'm just saying, it's going through. It's not just one aspect. It's a lot different.
because of the internet and because of our exposure to readily able media sources, it seems like it's
No, I'm not
blowing
saying
up
it's
right now.
seeming, but I'm saying these people that are the reports from if you individualize them, they are very
but
drastic.
But memory is fallible. If you look at it this way, okay, Nevitz, what's the worst winter that you remember when you were under 8 years old? Compare that to a winter that you're experiencing now. Even if it was just as bad or worse, you would think that it was worse when you were younger
So-
because of the scope of it and your brain wrapping around it. It seems so diabolical, so immense. But when you get older, it's not that bad.
But we're not
So you're-
relying on our own memories anymore. There's so much communication in the world now that we're all in a group like, yep, it's the worst.
So
it's
are you
ever
saying
been.
that
we have records?
there
Yeah, but he's
could have
saying,
been-
somebody's
there's-
like, oh, it's the worst we've ever seen.
Oh, okay, so are you saying there
Saying
could
that.
have been a bushfire in Australia's history that is worse than what it's going through right
I
now
don't know, maybe.
in recorded history?
I haven't done the research.
I'm just asking, is that like what you're proposing?
Yeah,
Okay,
maybe.
okay.
Just because somebody says, well, I remember in 06, it was real bad.
I don't know, man.
That's based off of.
It's
Stories become legend, and legend become epics until the age that bore that legend can no longer remember.
Again, I think the media has also desensitized people into believing that, because we have our fingertips, that it is just, we have all the information. It's not as bad as what it seems. You know what I mean? But yet you have scientists that say, I don't know, the Earth's pretty active. It's actually been the
Yeah.
most active in a while. And that what I'm talking about when people are like, it's not been like this ever. It's not just random, dude living like, it's not like us being like, man, I've never seen Muncie covered in ice, and stuff like that. But it is actual scientists and people that, study that area. They're like, this has never been, this is the most. It was the hottest decade
I'm playing double now.
ever. I know, I'm just saying, it's the hottest decade ever, like that we've had in recorded history that we had this last decade.
Right.
I mean, so things are coming to a head. And I just choose to look at them at a biblical insight.
Well, and you see, it's,
That's just my belief. I'm not trying to push it on
right.
anybody. I'm just saying,
And, but as far as coming to a head goes, things usually happen in waves. Like, it might not be coming to a head, it might be cresting a hill to come back down. It's just, it's gotten worse before it can get better than it ever has before.
yeah, I just use that as a terminology thing. I mean, I don't know where it's exactly going.
Well, I'm also going to say that recorded history only goes back, a couple hundred years. As
It
far
goes
as
back
media,
further than that in some places.
recorded history goes back that far as some stories and stuff like that. But if you're talking about logical, actual, temperate, monitored things like that.
When's the date from 200 years ago?
1820.
Okay, in 1816, 200 years ago, it was recorded that a volcanic eruption happened and literally the northern hemisphere did not have a summer.
Yeah, and that's ultimately what I'm saying, is that it's only been a couple hundred years that we've had recorded, actual, able to monitor these things to a point. You know what I mean? Like, it
The
could've been
further
way
back
worse.
you go, the less accurate the records are.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean like 2,000 years ago, when the only
Yeah, we
book,
don't know.
the only book that survived that was the Bible, or some hieroglyphics, Rosetta Stone. Yeah, there were a couple of things,
The OG emojis.
but none of them said today it got 10 degrees Celsius because they didn't
No,
have
That's
Celsius.
what I'm saying.
Okay, I can understand that it's not as technical as that. I'm just saying,
But what I'm saying is, before that even, the stuff that we don't know about, the 100,000 years ago, Well, what if it did get that bad, and it's destined to get that bad again as part of a cycle?
Yeah, I get you.
So we're destined for an apocalypse. Okay, so somebody else who's religious, Poda, you're not talking very much. What's your take on this apocalyptic landslide into discordance?
I believe time is going in one direction and it will end eventually. And when it comes to what's going on around the world, as of now, I do find it interesting that the big, like what Nepp was saying, with what's happening globally and tectonic action, weather, all that, I do find it very interesting that outside of a religious, spiritual belief at all, it's very science, 100% global warming, pole shifting. This happened before, it's gonna happen again. There's nothing, don't worry about it. It's like, we'll get through this. We can fix this. We did it, we can fix this. But some of the stuff that's happening lines up with what the Bible says, which I do find interesting. And even in the book of Revelations, I still find it fascinating that I still love conspiracy theories. Entertaining, I'll talk about it, they're great. But I found it interesting that the conspiracy theory of the New World Order, the shadow government, the one that's really in control, that has all the knowledge, that filters it down to everybody else, and their mythos in the New World Order conspiracy theory, the one world government, the one world religion, and then the one on top in control of it all, that's supposed to be the Antichrist kingdom in the Bible, and it's all going the same direction. Now you could argue that because the Bible's been around, people are pushing for that direction, but I believe in a God that is sovereign, and though we may not agree and understand with everything that is happening, I believe he's just and right, and he's bringing all things back to him, but our perception is finite, because we are a created being. No matter what God you worship, technically, we are a created being, even other gods. I don't like gods that they suffer from human tendencies of lust and greed and murder. I wouldn't count that as a god. I don't know where I went on that conversation.
Yeah. We're going off on a...
I think that it's more along the lines of we believe in a certain prophecy, and the prophecy is prophesying an apocalypse. And that's what we're going off of, is what we believe how the apocalypse is going to be.
Do you think? Wait, were you asking?
Apocalypse comes from the words from the Bible.
Is gonna happen or not gonna happen? Reword what you were saying. That's probably what happened.
What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, what do you speculate would happen were there to be an apocalypse?
I don't know, pretty much everything we've already all talked about.
Yeah,
really, all the crazy shit, people's minds cracking, bartering systems, trying to make it through and hoping and praying.
Well, with the conjecture that Neppitz is saying, there's still going to be a rapture, there's still going to be a grand separation of the good and the just, I guess, and the rest of us. Even when those people get taken out,
what we're doing.
there's going to be people stuck here.
Mm-hmm.
How's it going to go down?
Horrible.
It's not going to be fun. I mean, it'll probably be fun for some, because some will have been looking forward to it and hoping for it.
But you think it's going to be martial law, people looking to just go out and murder other people? Or is it going to be a dog eat dog?
I think it'll be partial, both, depending on the territory and where you're at. Some people are going to go fucking crazy and then just go on a killing spree for resources. Some people are going to bunker down and try to form communities and say we can outlast this. Basically all the human aspects that you could think would happen in an apocalypse situation. Like, it will all happen.
Yeah.
I'm saying, I wish I got that question asked me too. What I believe is there's actually going to still be a structural society, because the person that is in the middle of all this, again, biblically, is going to be what other people call the Antichrist. We'll just call him like the leader. He is still going to be in control. He is still going to have structure. He is still going to, so it's going to be a society. At first it's going to be, okay, there's all these people there and stuff like that, but never mind, my bad. You're sighing, so I'll shut up.
No. No, you have every right to.
No, it's okay.
Alright.
Well, we're well over the 1 hour mark, and we were going to try to keep it a 1 hour broadcast. So this might be a good time to wrap it up.
True enough. A very harsh first live broadcast from us to you. Thank you for the few of you guys that chimed in. I'm sorry if I seemed a little crass responding to some of your guys' stuff. We enjoy the feedback, we really do. Thank you very much. Marshall Mack, Jen, Sam, good old Tomato, good seeing you. Thank you guys for joining us, and as always, we will continue throughout the weeks with our our audio podcast. Please do listen. If you guys have any thoughts for future videos, you can send submissions to ratingthefringe@brainforger.com. Any thoughts, comments, concerns, you can leave on this video even after we've posted it and we're done with it. But we appreciate everything, and thanks, guys. You'll hear us next week.
See, I was going to play that music underneath you, summing it up.
Well, I summed it up.
You sure did.
Thanks, everybody. I'll sum it up again. We appreciate you guys, and you've heard this before. You hear it again. We have new episodes every Friday. Yeah, like, share, subscribe. We have new episodes
notification
every Friday.
Any fringe subject we are happy to get comments on or thoughts of. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, also, you can send an email to ratingthefringe@brainforger.com.
Subject line guest.
Addressed under the subject guest. And you need to come up with a topic that you would like to discuss, and we are happy to have you on. Thank you, guys.